What's going on, everybody? My name is Rico. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's episode of How to Thursday, I'm going to help a subscriber. Right, so last week a subscriber of mine called Alittleolder watched my video of how to make a thumbnail using GIMP, and he said, well, GIMP looks a little bit complicated, so today we are going to change that. And he had a specific question, which was that he's doing product reviews and he would like to know how to add text to a still image, so to a photo. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you guys a couple of ways of how to do that. And we are back in GIMP. Alittleolder says it's a hard program to use, or that it looks hard to use. I'm going to show you guys that it's not. First up, what I did was I made a picture of a knife. He's got product reviews, so I figured this would be appropriate to use because this is something he would use. First, what we are going to do, and that's the great thing about GIMP, is duplicate this layer. And why are we working with layers? It's because everything you do on this layer, if you don't like it, you can just delete it and then the original image will be intact. Over here you have eyes. If the eye is on, you can see the layer. If you switch it off, the layer is gone. So I'm gonna put this one on. I'm gonna leave the bottom one as is. I'm going to call this original, and then I'm going to call this edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, this is the tools menu in which you have several things. It's a box, it's a round, it's a free select tool. I'll explain this one. It's the magic wand, a little bit later. Then you got a couple of different ones. The pause tool is something you will use, and you see me use it in the previous video. It's linked somewhere up there, which allows you to put a nice white edge around the knife. I'm going to do that in a minute. And this is the move tool. And then this is the scale tool. You can scale the image, as you can see. I'm not going to use that right now. Here's the text tool, the bucket fill tool, and I'm going to show you guys the other ones in a different session. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text, because that's what it's all about. Now you can see that you can select the letter type over here, but you can't really see it very easily. So if you go to the right side of your screen, you've got a couple of menus up here, and if I'm not mistaken, you have letter type here as well, and this is easier to select because it shows you exactly which one you want. For this one I'm going to use Sitka banner bold, and as you can, I clicked on it, and as you can see, it's been selected over here. Just gonna click inside the image. I'm going to switch the color to white. You can do it over here, and you can do it over here if you want to. I'm going to click inside the image, and I'm going to put in Gonzo knife. With Ctrl A, I'm going to select everything, all the letters. Just gonna click on this arrow over here, increase it, or what you can do, just fill in a random number. This is big, to make it bigger. As you can see, it's not fully on the screen right now, so I'm going to get my move tool. Going to move it a little bit to the side. So that's how you add text, just plain text, nothing spectacular. I can imagine that you want this text to be centered, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you guys that because you've selected the text tool and you've put in the text over here, it creates a new layer. It does it automatically. If all goes well, if I switch this one off, you only see the text. This is the original one, nothing is edited, and this is the edit one we're going to use. I can imagine that you want this text to be centered out. What you are going to do is click on the layer below it, or the original layer or the edited layer, and then you are going to press this icon over here, which is the alignment tool, and then you are going to click inside your text, and as you can see, It's got 4 dots over here, and over here you have a couple of options. I always put this on active layer, so it basically says where do you want this one centered from, and I'm going to tell it I want it to be centered from the original layer or the active layer. This is the active layer, and this is horizontally and this is vertically, as you can see. I'm going to undo that one with Control Z because I like the text to be here because it's easier to work with. So that's that. Back to the move tool. Now I want to edit this text. So what I need to do is I need to click the text layer because this is the layer that I want to work with. And in this case, I want this to pop out a little bit. Now, there are a couple of ways to do that. I'm going to show you a way which is the easiest one and the way that I'm using in my thumbnails. And then from there on, I'm going to advance a little bit further. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put timestamps in the description. So if there is a text setting that you already know, you can just click on the next one and then it shows you the next one. In this case, we are going to put black lines around this. So what we are going to do is right mouse button on the text layer. So once again, right mouse button, and we're going to alpha to selection. Alpha to selection is something that creates these moving ons, as we call them, or moving ants as they are being called. And now what we are going to do is we are going to select grow, and in this case I'm going with 10 pixels. Press OK, and as you can see, the edges have been increased with 10 pixels. Now what I want to do now is make a new layer and not put it on the original layer because that won't work. So on the right bottom side of your screen are a couple of options. One is add a new layer. The other one is make a new layer group, which is basically making a folder and putting everything in it. And then you have duplicate layer in case you want to try out something else. In this case, I'm going to do new layer, call it grow text. It's been here already because I just made another thumbnail. And then fill with transparency. So you can do a couple of options, but for this tutorial we are going to focus on transparency. Press OK, and then you click the text layer or the grow layer and you put it behind or under, put it under the text layer. And then what you're going to do is you're going to edit. Oh wait, I need to change my foreground color to black. In case you haven't done that, all you have to do is click this one and then pick any color you like from any spectrum you like, and you can switch these with this little thingy over here, but we're going to keep it black for this one. So we increased it with 10 pixels, made a new layer, dropped the layer below the text layer, and now we are going to edit, fill with the foreground color, and as you can see, the text is popping from the picture, which is awesome because now it's much more easier to read than without. So this is one of the easiest ways to use a text effect. Now for the next effect, what we are going to do is we are going to create the same increase in pixels around this knife, and I'm going to make it white, and then afterwards I'm going to show you something cool with the text. So I'll be back for that in a minute. If you don't know how to do it, here's a video linked up here, if all goes well, from my previous tutorial in which I show you guys how to do that. And if you want, you can follow along. I'm going to select the pause tool, and then I'm going to zoom in using Control and the mouse scroll button. That's how you zoom in. And if you press the mouse scroll button, you can move the image around. In this case, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so I have a better look. So I've got the pause tool selected, I'm going to click on the edit layer. This is very important. Before I start, I click on the edit layer, and now I'm just going to click, 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 and then move on from here and select the entire knife. For the sake of this video, I will fast forward this so you guys don't have to watch me doing all these points. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, so I didn't do this very accurately, but to me it doesn't matter because it's just about the technique. So when you're at the final point, you press Control and then you click on the first point that you've created, and then as you can see it's a little square, which means everything is closed. And what you are going to do right now is press Enter, so it will be selected. And then as you can see, we've got moving ends again. What we are going to do is we are going to select grow with 10 pixels. As you can see, it's grown with 10 pixels. What we are going to do is make a new layer. Grow knife, transparency. Okay. We are going to put it underneath the edit layer, and then we are going to select fill with background color, because I have the foreground color with black and the background color with white. And now we have moving ends again, and what we are going to do is go to select, copy, and then select paste as new layer. And then if I turn everything off, you can see that the knife is the pasted layer. I forgot a little spot over here, but you have to forgive me. So I'm going to put everything back on again except the original layer. And now we are going to select grow by 10 pixels. So the same with the text effect. And then we are going to add a new layer, grow knife, transparency, fill with transparency, press OK. And then we are going to edit, fill with background color. And as you can see, the entire knife is now white, but when I grab the layer, put it beneath the layer I've just edited, or basically the new layer I created from the knife, you now see that it's got a nice white line around it. So why is this important, you may ask? I'm going to show you guys, because I just created this text layer, but the problem with this text layer is if I click this text layer and then grab my move tool and I do this, then this is what happens. So these two need to be connected. Now what I'm going to do, press Ctrl Z to undo that one. There's a couple of nice things you could do. You could click this, lower it by like 1 point, and now it looks like you got some kind of shade, which is pretty awesome. It's another text effect, but it's not really, I mean, it's not, you've got a shade over here and a shade over here. So I'm going to show you guys later on how to just do it the right way, but this is a way to do it. If you want to do this, then you shouldn't merge these layers, because that's what I'm going to do right now, merge these layers. So press Ctrl Z. And how do you merge these text layers? Well, that's easy. This is the grow one, so that's the black line around it, and this is the entire text layer. What I need to do now, and what you need to do now, is press your right mouse button, and then you see merge downwards. Press that one, And now these layers are connected. So if I grab the move tool and I just swing this around, they stay connected. So, and what's funny is because we made a white line over this knife, and it's, as you can see, it's still selective because it's got the moving and. So I want to get rid of that, so I'm going to select none. As you can see, nothing is being selected right now. So let's say you want a part of the image or a part of the text disappear behind the image. Then what you can do is create a white line over this or edit it as a new layer, and then grab your move tool and then move your text layer like this, but now it's over your image. And what I just said is I want it behind the knife, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the text layer and then I'm going to put it beneath the grow layer of the knife. See? And now it's behind the knife, and the knife is over the text. If I want the knife to be under the text, all I gotta do is put the text layer above the knife. So this is the edited one, this is the grow one. See, if I put it over here, what you can see is the growth layer is behind the text, so that's a little bit funky and I don't want that, so I'm putting it behind it. And then I'm going to show you up close again. So if the text layer is above the knife layer in this case, or the product layer, the text layer is going to stay on top of it. And if you grab the text layer and you put it beneath the product layers, then it goes behind it, and it's a pretty cool effect if you ask me. So this is effect number 1, and now I'm going to create a new effect. I'm going to recreate this image and then I'll talk to you guys in a minute. And it's time for text effect number 2. So what I did was I created a new white outline on the knife. I created it here as well. Reason being, I'll show you in a minute. What we need to do now is add some text again. So we're going to grab the text tool. I want it to be in white. If you missed that, here's the color. You click on it and then you select any color you like from any spectrum that you like. But I want it to be white. I'm going to put the background color on black just in case. And I'm going to click inside the image. I'm going to hit Ganzo knife review. It can be any text obviously, but for this specific one I'm going to use Ganzo knife review. Hit Ctrl A. I'm going to increase it by 350. Just a little bit. 400. There we go. And now let's hit it to the side. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So here's our text layer. As you can see, there's been a new layer has been made. And what we're going to do right now is on the text layer, hit Ctrl or right mouse button, go to alpha to selection. That creates the moving ends. And now what we're going to do is pretty funny. We are going to delete this layer. And now all that you see are the moving ends. We do need a layer for this one, so we are going to click this little icon over here, symbol. Let's call this text, fill with transparency, press OK. And now this outline has been put in a new layer. And we are going to use double colors, so I want this to be blue, or no wait, red. In this case, just for this example, background blue. We're going to grab the gradient tool, keep it on normal, 100% opacity, foreground to background, and you can change it over here. So just put it on foreground to background. It's the second option, just for the sake of this tutorial. And the shape, if it's on something else, put it back on linear. And now what we're going to do is we are going to click over here, press and hold Control, and just drag it to the side. And now what you see is the foreground color is what it starts with, and it ends with the background color. I don't like this look, so Control Z to undo it. I want it to be like this. There we go. You can do any shape or form that you like. You can reverse the colors. You can use different colors, obviously. But yeah, this is what we're going to use. And then make sure we have Alpha 2 selection on. And then we are going to edit, copy, and then edit again. And then go to paste as new layer. Now what we need to do right now is grab this layer and make it black. I want the text to be black because we're going to use it as a drop shadow. So I'm going to change the name of this layer into drop shadow. And if you don't know how to do it, just click in it and you can change the text. And now what I'm going to do is put the foreground color, change it to black, go to edit, fill with foreground color, which is the black one. And now you see the text is black. The text is still above the other text. So I'm going to grab it under, or put it under the text layer. And now what you see is, you see the text layer with the double colors, and the black text is gone. What I'm going to do is, because I want to get rid of the moving ants, so I'm going to hit select none. And there you have it. Now what we need to do is we need to grab this text, move it a little bit so the black comes out and it's got a nice backdrop. So we're going to use the move tool, click on the text, hit Control, and then just drag it down. Reason why you have to hit Control is because it will stay straight under it, as you can see. So I want to drop a little bit, and I want to go to the side a little bit, and this looks good because it's got a nice shade over here and it doesn't have any shade on this side, which is how it's supposed to be, because in the previous version it's got black all around it. So this is how you make another text or create another text effect. What you can do is you can grab the top one, merge downwards, and then these two are connected. So now if you grab the move tool, you can just move it anywhere you like in the frame. Now it's over the knife. If I put it below the grow layer, it's behind the knife. This is the reason why I did this or redid this, so that you see part of the letters behind the entire knife. So this is another way to do a text effect. So I showed you guys two different effects. First one was using the Alpha 2 selection tool to grow it by 10 pixels to have black all around it or an outline all around it. And then the second effect is this one, in which you create a drop shadow effect. And that's it, two different text effects. I'll put the timestamps in the description down below. There's one more thing left for me to say, which is make love to the like button. Consider subscribing if you like what you saw. Hit the bell button to be the first to be notified when I drop a new video. And until next time, doei!